Okay, welcome back to another month for my InvestEngine Stocks and Shares ISA portfolio update. Now in the month of June, things are certainly hotting up in the stock market, I think you'd agree. Almost as hot as I am right now trying to record this video in my studio. Anyway, let me jump right now into my InvestEngine portfolio on my phone. I'll put this up on screen now. Let's talk things through and see how we've done so far this month. Now, the big question I want to know every single month when I put this up on screen is, am I a millionaire yet? The answer, sadly, is no. We're quite a long way out. Anyway, at the moment, you can see another £1,000 has gone into the account. That's my current direct debit that I've got set up going into the Stocks and Shares ISA. My plan this year is to continue with that £1,000 a month. And then toward the end of the financial year, maybe into next year as well, is to try and figure out if I can max that out to £20,000. That certainly would be my plan of action, is what I want to do. And if I just go into the account now, you can see when I've made that deposit, and you can see when the buys took place, and you can see we are actually in the green, up 2% so far amongst this portfolio, which is always nice to see compared to when you just see red in your portfolio, especially what we had to deal with all of 2022. Just a reminder, if you are new to these portfolio updates, I do share this portfolio, Toby's World that I've called it, and Index and Chill. I will keep them in the description as a link, and you can have a look actually what's inside of it. We'll jump into Toby's World in just a moment, but Index and Chill, as a quick reminder, is literally just a single global index fund which accumulates for you. So that's VWRP, as you can see up on screen now from Vanguard. Now from Toby's World, let's just jump in and see what we've got. This is a very simple portfolio. You could make this even simpler, like I said many times before, with just a single global index fund. This is pretty much my own version of a global index fund. If anything, I've done it like this to keep my costs really, really low. Now, on that topic, I did actually get an interesting comment the other day, and I can't remember which video it was. It might have been from the last portfolio update on InvestEngine. And someone said, why are my fees so low? Or why are my fees, as you can see on screen, 0.09%? And why weren't they something like 0.75 or something like that? Because what they did is they went through the individual funds, they saw the individual expense ratio, like here, for example, as you can see on the emerging markets, and they've added those up, and they got to their total when, of course, it's an easy mistake to make, but really what you need to be looking at is the weighting. So, for example, if you had £100 invested and 90% was invested at a fee of 0.1%, but that 10% was invested at like a 2% fee, that doesn't make your whole fees, 2.1% or whatever. 90% of your money would be in the lower fee account, and only 10% would be affected by that larger percent. So do remember it's weighted and does depend how much money you've got in each fund. But I did think it was quite an interesting comment and an easy mistake. I can see why you might make that. Now, you might have seen this new feature appear in your account called a savings plan, and this is essentially an option that now allows you more flexibility in the way that you invest. So rather than just being able to invest monthly with a direct debit, the savings plan now allows you to invest either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, and the minimum amount that you can invest with is just £10. And I think that's really useful if you want to get started with smaller amounts of money. Now, once you have a savings plan set up, that money gets automatically invested straight into your portfolio at the weights that you've already set up, so there's nothing left to do. And you can change this at any point too, so if you want to invest more or less money, this is a really simple thing to change. And I thought I'd cover that because you might have seen in your app this savings plan pop up here, as you can see, and you might have thought, what's that? Just a little bit confused, but that's actually kind of a new feature that they just brought up in the app. Now, if you are a new investor and this is all brand new to you, I do have a link in the description where you can get £25 for depositing £100 as a brand new customer onto the InvestEngine platform. I'll leave all the terms and conditions and everything else below, but do make sure you check that link out and get yourself some free money. And also a huge thanks to everyone who's used that link below. It does help support the channel, and also I hope you've enjoyed the free cash too. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about this month is a reminder that you can actually rebalance your portfolio in the InvestEngine account. Now, what we mean by that is I've got this portfolio here of 4 different ETFs. Now, when I first made my first deposit, the weightings were these grey numbers just to the right. So 58% in the S&P 500, 20% in the developed market fund, 15% in the emerging markets, and I put 7% in the FTSE 100 fund. But what you can actually see, as the different markets have gone up and down, you can actually see the weightings change. So for example, the biggest winner at the moment is of course the S&P 500, and that's up 4% overall across everything. Now that means that it now actually makes up 59% of the weighting. So what I can actually do is rebalance this whole portfolio at any time. And all you have to do, you can do it in a couple of clicks. Just go to options here, go to rebalance portfolio holdings, and then it will confirm what securities you'll actually be doing. You'll be selling the S&P 500, and effectively in this example, I'd be buying the rest, and I've just hit confirm there. What I'll probably do is probably rebalance this maybe every 6 months to a year or something like that. There's no rush in my opinion to necessarily balance this every week or anything like that, but just do be aware of that because over many, many years, you may have things go out of sync. And actually what I'm trying to do is kind of match the world with some lower fees, specifically in this account. Now, quickly just going back to performance generally across the global stock markets, we are up 2% at the moment. The stock market's having a pretty good year. Now, you may have heard that we are actually in a new bull market because the market has gone up more than 20%, just over 20% within a year. Now, we've just broken that just before the lows of 2022 in October was when the stock market hit one of its lowest points. And now we're flying high in 2023 when apparently things were meant to go all the way down and the stock market was going to crash. And that's a great reminder that really you should probably just ignore a lot of that noise and keep investing for the long term if that is what you're looking for. Now, the big winner at the moment are those big tech plays which did take a battering last year. As you can see, and I did mention, the S&P 500 currently up 4% at the moment this year inside my account. But overall, it's had a pretty good year and a pretty good past few months, up over 3.72%, as you can see here, just in the past month. Now, I think one thing to say at the moment generally around the stock market is I think we are seeing a bit more greed and we are seeing people FOMO into some different positions while they are getting afraid of missing out on those big gains. There are lots of stocks out there right now which have gone up over 100%, 60, 80%, you name it, just over the past few weeks at the moment. And a lot of you no doubt will be out there thinking, wow, these boring index funds, why do I want to invest in these when I should be in these big, crazy stocks? But the big question then I would say is, firstly, you didn't buy them when they were absolutely at their all-time lows. You didn't even think about them. You were avoiding the market completely. And also, it's another reminder that we can just be driven so much by greed and fear and all of our emotions. And at the end of the day, I do think a lot of retail investors are probably going to get themselves hurt in this whole new AI and tech surge that we've got going on at the moment. Valuations are kind of going out the window. It does feel a little bit more like 2021 all over again, but I'd really like your opinion in the comment section below, what you think is going on in the market at the moment. For me personally, I will just ignore that noise, and ultimately there's always going to be the next hot stock or the next hot area that people are going to be invested in at any time. And the funny thing is, although index fund investing is kind of the boring, safe route, it just shows how hard it is to do, because during these times, even though the market is green and you're looking at accounts like this, you might be thinking, oh, I'm only up 2% and I've put all this money in, I should be up much more. I can see how hard it is, but truly this is why investing, although sounds really simple, is extremely hard to do in the long run. And the more you can automate it and make it simpler for yourself, the easier you can make things in the long term. And with all the data we have from the past, this is probably one of the only ways we can do this to build long-term wealth. Nothing's ever guaranteed, and remember, I'm not your financial advisor. I don't know your personal circumstances, but truly, the more simple you can make things, the simpler you can make things, the easier you can make things for yourself, in my opinion, it's one of the only ways forward. In terms of the rest of the portfolio, really, it's relatively flat, down 1% here in the developed world fund, and the FTSE 100 down 1.5%. I mean, really, I'm not too bothered about that. But also remember, because the weightings are smaller, that impact has a tiny amount really on the portfolio. Aren't you glad that I record in 4K? I am drenched here. I hope you can't see any of these sweat bubbles. I've got a whole set going on my arm and down my t-shirt. Anyway, we'll get this one wrapped up pretty quickly. Anyway, on that note, I think we'll leave it there. In the description, I will leave the links for those both portfolios, Toby's World and Index and Chill. I'll also leave the link to sign up to get some free money as a new customer. Don't forget to check those ones out. And I will then put a link on screen, hopefully, for the playlist for all of my portfolio updates. You can go back through them and you can see how I've done over the past couple of years now that I've done these portfolio updates. And you can see all of the wonderful ride that we've taken from different accounts and different funds and all sorts of different investments. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like on the way out, subscribe for more. And as always, happy investing.